Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. And I have to say today, December 1st, is my husband, Dev's birthday. Make sure that you show him some love. Let him know we appreciate you, because I know that I do. And happy birthday to you. Today, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button on your way in. Subscribe if you have not done so already. I have been getting your DMs. Apparently, Gene, the bodyguard from Diddy that was talking before and doing all the interviews, he's currently on, so I have to finish to watch it. I didn't know he had his own YouTube channel. I just was seeing different interviews he had done. But he has his own YouTube channel where he has a lot of subscribers and he tells a lot about this whole Diddy thing. So I think it's interesting. I'm going to go check that out probably sometime after this live. But what I did want to talk about is, it seems like every time we go live and we talk about this, Roger Bond, who is the person mentioned in Cassie's lawsuit, he goes live with these videos. But I'm about to the point. I'm gonna play his little couple of videos before we get started, but I'm over it. I'm really over it. Either he's gonna talk or he's not gonna talk. I don't even understand his motive. I don't see his purpose. Well, again, I think I gave my opinion of why I think that he was doing it. I think he wants to draw more attention to his son, and he's utilizing this as a way to do it. That's what I believe. Now, will he actually come forward with anything that so significant that Gene hasn't already talked about, or if he gonna come forward with anything? Because he was kind of talking in circles. So I don't know if I'm gonna be covering him anymore, but I did want to let you guys see these videos before we get into the topic of today, which is the Jeezy and Jeannie Mai divorce saga. Now, my intent was to come and to talk about Keke Palmer, her baby daddy, Saronis Jackson and Dominique and all of that, because I do have the documents for that, but we'll probably have to do that tomorrow or sometime this weekend, because Jeannie Mai and Jeezy actually had court today. Now, nothing has been filed as of since I went live or whatever, from what happened today, if they have any documents. But yeah. Hey. Ooh. All right. So let's see. I'm going to play these videos while we let people trickle on in, because I don't want to have to repeat myself. I know I'm a little earlier because I really need to go take a nap. I'm tired. So we're going to play. I'm going to play his cryptic messages that I don't even understand his purpose. He's really getting on my nerves at this point. It's like, either you're going to talk or you're not going to talk. We didn't know who you were either way. You could have stayed where you was at. And now it's like, you kind of saying you know something, but then you're saying not really. I don't even know. So he did 2 parts yesterday. So we're gonna play both parts before we get into the Jeannie Mai saga.
Here, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk my truth. I got a lot of blogs that's getting at me, right? But I know they getting at me because what I said about Diddy. But what y'all don't know is, I'm going to speak my truth. That's what y'all came here for. I wanted to see how many people was going to start following me. What important people was going to start following me. And I seen it. I've been fighting for my son's life for the last 10 years. No responses. Nobody came to it. I say I'm going to tell my truth about Diddy and Cassie, and everybody and their mother start following me. That shit is just crazy. I say I'm going to tell my truth the other day about other people. I said how Puff got on my nerve and made me sick and I wanted to leave, and y'all just ran with it. But see, I'm going to show y'all, this ain't about money. This ain't about nothing, yo. This is about the truth. Now I want to know if y'all can handle the truth. I seen Cassie and Diddy fight. Yeah, I seen them fight just like everybody else fight. Just like I fight. Just like y'all fight with your man and y'all fight with your girl.
You guys help me out. What are you talking about, sir? What exactly? So are you saying it wasn't nothing so significant about these fights? Like, what were you saying exactly? We're just trying to understand where you're coming from so that we can, hear you out. I'm going to play it again because when I heard it, I'm like, is he just trying to say it was the average fight now? What are you talking about? What is your truth? You keep talking about you're going to tell your truth, but you're not saying nothing. We need you to say something if you're going to tell your truth. Telling your truth requires you to verbalize, articulate, and communicate your thoughts. That's what it requires.
A few minutes on this run right here. We're going to talk. I'm going to talk my truth. I got a lot of blogs that's getting at me, right? But I know they getting at me because what I said about Diddy. But what y'all don't know is, I'm going to speak my truth. That's what y'all came here for. I wanted to see how many people was going to start following me. What important people was going to start following me. And I seen it. I've been fighting for my son's life for the last 10 years. No responses. Nobody came to it. I say I'm going to tell my truth about Diddy and Cassie, and everybody and their mother start following me. That shit is just crazy. I say I'm going to tell my truth the other day about other people. I said how Puff got on my nerve and made me sick and I wanted to leave, and y'all just ran with it. But see, I'm going to show y'all, this ain't about money. This ain't about nothing, yo. This is about the truth.
So when he says it's not about money, the last post we talked about, you were saying you were mad at Puffy for not giving you, didn't even offer $100,000 or to pay for your son's legal team. But you were concerned about him giving these tax deductible donations to these higher educational facilities. You felt like you giving $2 and $3 million to strangers. See, that's why I think something ain't all the way right. You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? Because you did just say it was about money. Just on the previous post that we talked about yesterday. I'm just trying to explain to you guys why I'm about over anything that this man has to say.
Now I want to know if y'all can handle the truth. I seen Cassie and Diddy fight. Yeah, I seen them fight just like everybody else fight. Just like I fight. Just like y'all fight with your man and y'all fight with your girl.
What? What are you talking about? Okay, so then he did a part 2, like the same last night. He did a part 2 as well. So here's his part 2. I'm gonna have to go on over there and watch all those Gene videos because clearly this guy has nothing to say for real.
Ain't no pleasing y'all. So y'all gonna have something to say no matter what I say. So if I delete my Instagram, if I take away.
So y'all see that he said he deleted his own Instagram yesterday. So when all the headlines were saying Diddy did it, and then I told you somebody actually started a whole nother page with his name on it and put Diddy deleted my Instagram. I'll come live if you guys get to 1,000. I'm gonna come live if I get 1,000 followers or whatnot. And I told you that was just somebody trying to get some subscribers up or whatever, and they used it for their benefit. He's saying that he basically did it himself. He's the one that took his own Instagram down, and probably knew people were gonna speculate that it was because of Diddy. This gamesmanship is just ridiculous to me.
Week off is just because I don't feel like reading the bullshit. It's just that I'm dealing with my son. It's just that I'm dealing with all my kids. It's just that I'm dealing with my peace and I'm dealing with my sanity. So if it's not the answers you want, I'm sorry. It's my truth. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people going to say, oh, no. Nah, it's just my truth. And that's what I told y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got kids, I got daughters, I got everything. So I'm going to give y'all all my truth. Stop looking for something that's not there. Okay.
What? Stop. You're the one, sir, who decided to let us know you couldn't stand Diddy. You was faking your sicknesses and stuff because you was diagnosed with diabetes. So that's the reason why you weren't coming to work, because you didn't want to be around them. You didn't want to be around all the stuff that was going on. Something ain't right with you, in my opinion. So I say all that to say, Roger, somebody said, go home, Roger. That's where we're at with you right now. So let's get to the business at hand. Oh, and for those of you that did not hear, Jussie Smollett did not win his appeal. So apparently the Court of Appeals did not agree with him. Okay. So it looks like, I don't know. I don't think they're going to have him go to jail anyway. He's probably going to get probation, but we don't know. But Jussie Smollett, the Court of Appeals denied his appeal. For those of you that didn't know. Speaking of truth, okay. So if we want to talk about truth, let's talk about Jussie Smollett. So anyway, guys, let's get to what we're here for. So make sure you guys hit that like button and share if you haven't done so folks can get, notifications that we are on. So we all have been discussing the divorce. When the divorce was filed prior to that, Jeezy, also known as J. Wayne Jenkins, who is married to Jeannie Mai Jenkins, had filed for a divorce. And people were all over the internet. And the first thing they said was, men usually don't file for divorce. Oh my goodness, they usually don't file for divorce. I cannot believe this. Then we had Jeezy did this whole video with, what's her name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Did the video and basically was like, cheating is for suckers and all of that. Well, after we read this document, it appears, and there were rumors that they were saying Jeannie Mai was the one that cheated and stepped out on the relationship. It was all type of rumors. So I was waiting for her response, which is what she has done. Jeannie Mai responded to Jeezy's petition for divorce over there in Fulton County. And she also filed a counter complaint for divorce. So what's the purpose of a counter complaint? One of the main purposes of it, aside from the fact that you may want to lay out your own factual allegations, is if Jeezy decides he wants to change his mind tomorrow, there will still be a divorce complaint that is pending because she did a counter complaint. So, for example, I had a client who filed for divorce against his wife. When he didn't show up for anything because there wasn't a counter complaint, the whole case was dismissed without prejudice, of course, because you can always come back and refile. That meant even though she still wanted a divorce from him, he just filed first. Because she had not filed a counter complaint, there was no complaint that was pending because he had kind of walked away from the actual divorce. So Aside from the fact that she probably wanted to add her own facts, which she did, and we're going to go over in her counter complaint, she also has solidified that even if Jeezy changes his little mind, she can still go ahead and divorce this cat. So when you respond to anybody's petition or complaint, you have to answer line by line, and you either admit it, you deny it, admit in part, deny in part. So that's what you're going to see in the beginning. So let's so basically the first part, she just admits the allegations. The first one, she acknowledged she was served in the complaint on November 6th, 2023. She admits that they were married on March 27th of 2021. However, she denies the parties were living in a bona fide state of separations at the time of the husband's filing of the complaint. So she's saying, and we went over what a bona fide separation was, and it's not necessarily physical. It means you're not engaged in intimate relations. She said that's a lie. So it sounds like on the date this complaint was filed, although people were saying, well, maybe she thought they were trying to work it out. Maybe she did know that he sought counsel from an attorney a few months before, as we saw from the affidavit, that this was something that was filed a few months after, after she actually saw the attorney. She said they were not in a bona fide state of separation at the time that this was filed. So let's go on. She admits the party's marriage is irretrievably broken, because usually in the States, because ours is similar, you have to file. They just have a boilerplate statement that you have to, because we're considered a no-fault state. So you don't have to put the reasoning why or whatever. You can just say the objects of matrimony are broken and there's no way that we're going to get back together. So that's pretty much what they put was the statute. And then, but she says she reserves the right to amend this response to add additional grounds for divorce that may be appropriate. And she also said that she should be granted a total divorce from her husband. She admits that they have one child born of the marriage, as stated in paragraph 5. Paragraph 6, which is the prayer for relief in Jeezy's complaint. She says wife denies that husband should be awarded the same, because he was trying to get joint physical and joint legal. She's denying that. She said in further response, wife shows that it is the minor child's best interest that the parties be awarded temporary and permanent joint legal custody of their minor child, which is decision making, right? However, wife maintains that she should be awarded final decision making authority. Additionally, wife maintains that she should be awarded primary physical custody of the minor child on a temporary and permanent basis. So Jeannie Mai does not want to split down the middle, either legal or physical. She wants to have primary custody. Then she says she admits the facts in 7 and 8. Then she talks about the prenup, which was mentioned in paragraph 9. So she says wife neither admits nor denies the allegations contained in paragraph 9 of the complaint. In further response, wife shows that there is a prenuptial agreement, but wife reserves the right until after discovery is completed to determine whether husband's disclosures were accurate and or whether circumstances have changed such that the prenup agreement may be subject to challenge. So what she is saying, she acknowledges they had a prenuptial agreement. However, when we get into the thick of things, and we start doing discovery, I may find that you did not disclose everything that you should have disclosed, and I may not have went into this marriage with my eyes wide open, or any other grounds that may avoid this prenup. So she's not waiving her ability to do so. She's not saying that it is void as of now. She's just saying, I want to reserve my right just in case we really get into this and I learn through discovery that is some stuff that wasn't supposed to be happening. F.V. Gray said if he splits custody with his other children's mother, is he splitting custody with his other children's mother, or is he only doing this with the celebrity with the mother? That's a very interesting question. And I wonder, I don't know his relationship with his other kids' mom. His kids are probably older, maybe by now, teenagers or whatnot. But that's a very interesting question. Now, we've seen some filings of, I never downloaded maybe some disputes over child support and things like that, but I don't know his relationship with the other kids. That's a very, very interesting question. If he's trying to get joint physical and legal custody of all his kids, I think that's a very fair question. Wife further shows that the prenuptial agreement is subject to interpretation, and she reserves the right to respond to the paragraph at a later date. Paragraph 11 of the complaint is the prayer for relief, and it does not require a response. And further response, wife shows that the prenuptial agreement is subject to interpretation and reserves the right. That's pretty much it. So then she gets to her counterclaim. This is what you guys are probably seeing in a lot of the headlines, where there was some alluding that occurred in this counter complaint. So she basically says she's been a resident in the state of Georgia for more than 6 months prior to the filing of the counter complaint. You have to put your, why this court has jurisdiction. Husband is a resident of Fulton County. Husband and wife were lawfully married on March 27, 2021, and are currently living in a bona fide state of separation. So even though when he filed it, she's saying they were not in a bona fide state of separation, she said they certainly are now. So they have not been living together. And we can probably come to that conclusion when we read the next document that I am going to read that Jeezy filed. Wife shows that the party should be awarded joint, temporary, and permanent legal custody of the minor child, and wife should be awarded final decision-making authority. Wife shows that she should be awarded primary, temporary, and permanent physical custody of the minor child. Wife further shows that the court should enter a parenting plan that is in the best interest of the child. So then they kind of go over where the kids live, and they live together, where the kid lived, with both of them. So we won't have to go through that. Wife shows that child support on both temporary and permanent basis should be awarded and determined in conformity with the Georgia child support guidelines as amended. Wife is entitled to a divorce from husband on the grounds that the marriage is irretrievably broken as defined under statutory law. Wife reserves the right to amend this counterclaim to add other grounds for divorce, but which wife does not wish to specify herein at this time, in the hope this matter can be resolved without having to disclose such conduct publicly. And so she says she should be granted the divorce. So what she's saying now is, Jeezy, I'm sparing you with me not putting in this document exactly what I'm alleging that you did, in hopes that we could just be adults, come to the table and come to a conclusion and get this finalized. She said a lot without saying a lot. But then she goes on in the complaint where she does give us a little bit of insight into what may have happened that aided in this, which is still, he filed from divorce from her. So this is why I think perhaps, and again, this is my opinion, she was somewhat blindsided by some of this, because what she's alleging in here, what she's alluding to. So let me just read it. Wife shows the court that the parties entered into a prenuptial agreement on March 26, 2021. In the event that the court enforces the terms of said prenuptial agreement, White further shows that the court should enforce paragraph 8 of the prenuptial agreement regarding infidelity, which provides in pertinent part that in the event, now y'all listening to what the definition, they came up with their own definitions of what infidelity meant. So you guys, I want you to pay attention. In pertinent part, that in the event that either party engages in sexual relations, an emotional relationship, or is emotionally or actually suggestive in communication with the third party via all forms of electronic communication, including but not limited to texting, sexting, FaceTiming, social media, and or direct messages, shall result in a significant financial penalty upon the adulterous party as specified in said prenuptial agreement. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Jeezy was caught with his pants down doing anything, like physically. Their prenuptial agreement defines adultery or infidelity. It's not just relations, it's an emotional relationship, emotionally or sexually suggestive in your communications with the third party via all forms of electric communication, including but not limited to texting, sexting, FaceTiming, social media, and or direct messages, shall result in a significant financial penalty upon the adulterous party as specified in the prenup. So she's saying, I'm not giving up my right. I'm not admitting that this prenup even stands because I want to do some more investigation. That's what was said earlier on in this response. But then she says, but in the alternative, if this prenup is to stand and the court deems that it should stand, we're going to enter in paragraph 8 to be triggered about having any type of infidelity in our relationship. You said, how do you prove emotional relationship? That's what I said. It's very, very interesting. So I think having headlines that he cheated on her, it's like we need to know what their definition of infidelity is. They have a definition of infidelity that is very broad. So I'm like, well, I guess if they're the ones participating, I guess, because I'm sure women are in his DMs all the time. That's not to say men don't do that with Jeannie Mai either. But I know for, how people just throw it at these rappers and artists and stuff. So sounds like Jeannie playing chess to get around the prenup loopholes. So pay me for smiling at a cashier too hard. Sounds like trust issues. Oh my goodness. But if you stayed, listen, this is a good question. But if you stayed and filed, how would you get infidelity, anything from him? That doesn't necessarily, I guess, mean unless they went to counseling, like he said, and she was okay with it or seemingly okay with it and forgave him. I don't know how that will come in because it's still a breach of your contract. Like your prenup is a contract. If you breach it, they have certain provisions that are in there. So it sounds like someone said there may have been some concerns about Jeezy being out in the streets or whatever. So I would suggest, based on her pointing this out to the court, that all of the headlines claiming she was cheating with Mario Lopez and making up all these people probably was not accurate. Because why would she tell on herself and bring it to the court's attention that paragraph 8 says you can get a significant penalty? It says significant. And significant probably means something different to these multimillionaires. So he said, KK said, Jeannie says, keep your eyes straight ahead. Yep, that's right. Don't look to the left and don't look to the right. He's having an emotional relationship with someone. She might even have a recording. She may have got a private investigator, because that's what private investigators do as well. You can hire private investigators to follow your spouse to find out who they have been messaging and contact that person, stake their houses out. They do a lot of stuff when it comes to that. So yeah. What's this? Okay. Yep. Okay, let's go through this real quick. During the course of the marriage, the parties have acquired various assets, and wife shows that she should be awarded an equitable division of all marital assets, both real and personal, tangible and intangible between parties. Wife shows that during the course of the marriage, the parties have acquired various debts, and shows that same should be equitably divided by the court. Wife shows the court that to the extent exists and is proven pursuant to applicable law, each party should be awarded his or her separate property. Wife shows that OCGA section 19-5-7 provides as follows with regard to the transferring or disposition of property. After a complaint for divorce has been filed, no transfer of property by either party, except a bona fide transfer and payment of pre-existing debt, shall pass title so as to avoid the vesting thereof according to the final verdict of the jury in the case. And then they go on with further. OCGA provides as follows: pending the final determination by the court of the right of either party to alimony, neither party shall make any substantial change in the assets of the party's estate except in the course of ordinary business affairs and except for bona fide transfer of value. So it's kind of like, it's called maintaining the status quo. So you can't go try to clean out bank accounts, put your property in your kid's name, do all type of things to avoid what you need to pay or what you're going to be required to pay. Okay. Wife insists that husband comply with the foregoing statutes in all respects. Husband is put on notice of not only the law of the state of Georgia, but also notice of wife's intent to insist on full and absolute compliance by husband. Wife hereby places husband on notice of the following important provision regarding spoliation of evidence. Basically, don't be destroying stuff. So if you got some of this stuff where she can prove whatever she's saying in your cell phones, computers, and all of that, you are put on notice to preserve that. And we went over that yesterday as well on the other case. It has, you are hereby noticed that Georgia law requires you to exercise reasonable care to protect and preserve evidence relevant to the issues in the case. By this notice, you are hereby given notice not to destroy, conceal, or alter any video, audio, paper, or electronic files or other data in connection with this pending litigation, including but not limited to any of the following items that are either presently in your possession or control, or with which may come into possession while the case is going. Any financial records or statements, all income records, all tax records, all expense records, all recordings or evidence reflecting relevant conduct by either party. Any item that supports any defense raised by you to this complaint, and or any item which supports any claim made by you in any counterclaim or pleading filed in this manner. You are further notified that a failure to comply with this notice may result in sanctions for any destructions or failures to preserve any such evidence, including without limitation adverse inferences against you at trial, as well as an award of expenses and attorney fees necessitated by such conduct. And adverse inference is what I was referring to yesterday when we were talking about destroying information and not preserving it when you're put on notice, when we were reading one of those complaints that got to do with Diddy, I think it was the Diddy and Aaron Hall case when we went over that again yesterday, that you can get an adverse inference, which is to the jury that what would have been in these documents or what would have been in this electronic device would have been adverse to that party, and that's why they destroyed it. So it has spoliation or destruction of evidence creates the presumption that the evidence would have been harmful to the spoiler. Okay, so it has the different law. Proof of such conduct will raise a rebuttable presumption against Montgomery that the evidence favored Lane, a fact rendering summary judgment inappropriate. So then it just got the case law about spoliation. So in the event the divorce is settled by agreement, wait a minute. They talk about something. Wife hopes that this divorce will be settled by agreement of the parties. Wife has and will incur expenses of litigation, including attorney fees, expenses, and costs, and husband should be required to pay reasonable attorney fees and other expenses of litigation on wife's behalf on a temporary and final basis. So she also wants Jeezy to pay her attorney fees in this case as well. Ultimate and Jima said he is worth 10 million. She's worth 2. Girl, get it. She found out about the affair after he thought he could get rid of her because she found out and the prenup be affected. She got him. TD said he waited months before filing. He may have purged everything during that time, perhaps. Effie Gray said his facade is coming off. He seems to us, the courts and media, to portray himself as honorable husband and father. That has been wrong, but he seems controlling and manipulative. I hope she wins. That's what I'm saying. After you read this, like, it's cool to have snippets and headlines, and I know sometimes it can be a lot to read these documents, but headlines are going to find whatever they think can captivate someone's attention, and that's what they're going to do. Like, if they can captivate their attention and then get you to read it. But there's always a lot more that's in the document that I think doesn't, they don't have time to put everything in the article, of course. So anyway, in her prayer for release, she prays that she's granted a total divorce from husband upon legal principles, that wife be awarded joint legal custody, final decision-making authority, and primary, temporary, and permanent physical custody of the minor child as determined in the children's best interest, that child support should be awarded and determined in conformity with the Georgia Child Support Guidelines, that the court enforce that paragraph 8 of the parties' prenup agreement with regard to infidelity, that she be awarded a fair and equitable distribution of all real and personal property acquired during the marriage, that each party be awarded his or her respective separate property to the extent it exists and is proven pursuant to applicable law, that there be an equitable distribution of all marital debts of all the parties, that husband be ordered to pay wife's reasonable attorney fees and litigation costs on a temporary and final basis, that the court incorporate any settlement agreements entered into by the parties into any final judgment and decree of divorce, and that she be granted such another for the relief as the court in its discretion may deem equitable and just. So Jeezy's complaint and how he's been portraying this divorce and what led up to it and just his person. She hasn't really said anything. So this is really the first time that we get to see her side of the story. So it's an example of many people were running with it like, oh, she must have really did some stuff. We got to believe she did some stuff because he's the one that filed. We don't know what his motives were of filing. She has a whole different perception of what occurred. We weren't there in their marriage. So it just shows you everybody kind of leans on to make them look better in every pleading. That's just what they do. So that is the complaint response that was filed by Jeannie Mai. Now, on yesterday as well, you said, yeah, because then she had to pay her husband, her first husband. I think she had to pay him. She said that she is not leaving this marriage broke this time. The gloves are definitely off. Okay, so let's look at Jeezy also filed a document yesterday as well. Let me see. And he was asking the court for a temporary hearing about their kid. So apparently they've had some issues with the temporary parenting time and him seeing his child according to him since all this happened. So I guess that goes back to some of you guys. It's like, does he do all this with his other kids? I have no clue. We've never really went through anything. He never went through a divorce, obviously, because he never married any of the other people. He just had kids. But so then it goes through the same thing about the parties being married on March 27, 2021. They have one minor child. Petitioner filed his complaint for divorce on September 14, 2023. Since soon after the filing, the petitioner's complaint for divorce, respondent has been temporarily residing with the child in the party's home in Los Angeles, California. Since that time, the parties have endeavored to address temporary custodial arrangements on an informal basis. While the parties have agreed upon a visitation schedule through the end of 2023, which has been confirmed via communication between their counsel to continue addressing custodial and parenting time issues in such an ad hoc manner is becoming increasingly less feasible. So I'm going to go to the footnote of what their arrangement is thus far, I guess. The parties, as reflected in discussions between counsel, agreed that petitioner would have the child with him from November 27th through December 2nd, 27, 28, 29, 31. So about 6 days. And then from December 21st through December 29th. Confirming emails reflecting said agreement are available, but in order to protect the privacy of the parties and the child, the same are not being attached to this motion, although they will be available at any hearing scheduled by the court in this manner. The lack of consistency, continuity, and stability inherently associated with such haphazard and fluid parenting time schedule is stressful to the child. And it has, as is unfortunately inevitable with all families in transition, created unnecessary tension and confusion regarding not only parenting time, but also in regard to each parent's role and right when the child is in their respective custody. Specifically, and while petitioner does not believe that respondent is acting maliciously or with specific intent to harm petitioner's relationship with the child, the fact is, respondent has acted as a gatekeeper when it comes to respondent exercising parenting time with the child, as well as in regard to respondent's parenting time and as the child's father. Respondent's interference with petitioner's relationship with the child, again, while not generated from or with malicious intent, is nevertheless causing confusion and tension between the parties and is working to stifle the development of petitioner's relationship with the child. As such, it is necessary at this point to separate, structure, and clearly define the parties' temporary legal and physical custody rights and set a parenting time schedule consistent with the best interests of the child. As such, petitioner respectfully submits that it is necessary and appropriate for the court to hold a hearing to address the temporary legal and physical custody arrangements in this matter and enter a temporary order in accordance with the best interest of the child, which will serve to protect the child's welfare, reduce strife between parties, and help move this case to final resolution. So then they have their brief in support where they have all the case law, their authority. And then it has here, the just result is one that protects, promotes, and preserves the best interest of the child on a temporary basis and provide continuity and stability to her, reduces potential strife between the parties, and facilitates her relationship with both parents. In light of the present long-distance nature of the parties' co-parenting of the child and associated difficulties, including the need for each parent to exercise their parental roles without interference when they have the child, Petitioner respectfully submits that it is crucial for the court to enter a temporary order establishing the parties' temporary legal and physical custody arrangements during the pendency of this case. In sum, they've been beefing over seeing this kid. That's pretty much it. Some of that is going to be hurt because people can't separate. It's hard to separate your hurt as the person that's getting the divorce, and then you also have to, bite the bullet and do what's in the best interest of the kid. And plus Jeezy, like, I'm sure they're going to get into schedules and traveling and all type of stuff. So it sounds like Jeezy wants to portray, and probably told his attorney, don't bash her in any way or whatever, because he doesn't want to. He's trying to put in my opinion, I think he's trying to make a certain appearance for us as the public. So he made it very clear to say we can't get along about it. We're not getting along at all when it comes to, what is fair for me to see my child. But I don't think she's doing it maliciously or intentionally, whatever that means. So, or he doesn't want to fly to see the baby, and she probably doesn't want to either. And they may have to decide how they're going to pay for that. Like, do you pay for them to go one way and you pay for the other way? Most of the times you can do it. The fact that they tried to do this between themselves was very daring, because I think oftentimes you do need the court to just do a temporary order, especially with a baby. Like when you have like a teenager or somebody that makes the decision and they can call, yeah, you can do that, because the kid can just say, I want to go to my dad's, I want to go to my mom's, and you can do that fluidly like that. But when it comes to the baby, she's probably overprotective. This is her only child. I don't know his relationship, like I said, with his other kids. I don't know if she's seen him with his other kids and how he acts with his other kids. But of course, she's gonna be Mama Bear. So you said instead he just put out cheating with Mario Lopez. I don't know. I love you guys back. Thank you so much. The payment is normally on the person who moved out of state, but they didn't move out of state technically. She's in their temporary house in California. Like both of their homes. And I guess that's true in some states, but that's not true in the state that I'm at. She is on a game show now, so I can see the scheduling conflicts. Yeah. She did a good job with the baby. That congratulations on the bestseller was a bestseller. Yeah, she did. That baby is very, very smart. Very smart for her age. You said, it sounds to me that Jeezy has ulterior motives. Like, how did we get here? Although we don't know what went on behind closed. It just makes you look side-eyed at the Nia Long interview, right? Because in that Nia Long, like, well, they were interviewing each other, but in that Nia Long interview, he was, bashing cheaters. It was like he was trying to clean up his image, and you get into the childhood trauma and you get into things that pull on emotional strings. And this was all before she had to file her response. Now, she basically said, I'm not pulling the trigger and telling you what I'm alleging that you did. Again, both of these they're allegations in both complaints. But she's like, I'm not going to put it in there. Hopefully we can settle it, but I will if I have to. So yeah, that's that. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that is what is going on with the whole Jeannie Mai Jeezy situation. Again, we still have to get into Keke Palmer and them, and hopefully I'll get to that this weekend. I want you guys to enjoy your Friday. I just wanted to hop on real quick so you guys can get the whole breakdown, because I know many of you have probably read the articles and all of that by the time I've came on, because these documents were filed yesterday. So I actually saw them yesterday, but the news is coming so much. Sometimes you have these super slow weeks, and then you have weeks that are it's just coming. And this was just the last 3 weeks have been like that. So you kind of have to separate and figure out, like, What you gonna talk about? When you gonna talk about? What do your people want to talk about? You know, so I'll go by what you guys inbox me, or if you articles that you've read, and I'll say, okay, well, they're interested in that, and then I'll try to go over the documents with that. But yeah. Yeah, and I also did see for those of you following the Shirley Strawberry Nesto situation, if you are on Tasha K Live, somebody mentioned that in my chat. She does have an interview with the friend of Nesto. Why they chose to do that, and I don't know. But I guess we'll all see tonight what was the purpose if we watch it. So I am aware of that. So you guys could stop DMing me them screenshots and tagging me all up in them, because I saw it. I did see it. Also, I don't know if the baby was with her on this day, but Jeannie was in El Salvador on November 18th for the Miss World pageant. She co-hosted it. Yep, I saw that. That came through. I don't follow her, but I did see that come through my timeline. Yeah, y'all make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the content, and that hopefully I gave you a better understanding of what was going on with it. They're actually, again, they had court today at 1:00. So heck, they may have come to some type of agreement, and we just gonna be late, you know, with the information because we weren't in court. So, but you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'm sure I'll see you guys in some other YouTube channels and in these YouTube streets. And I'll try to come back to you guys this weekend if time permits. Talk to you guys soon.